So here we go. July 13th, 1962, Joel's letter to himself. My life has been told in two Bible passages. My kingdom is not of this world, and I have meat the world knows not of. At no time have I known pleasure, profit, or success in this world. There was no interest in children or games in childhood, no interest in school except in the reading of books. In my years of business and travel, there were no delights. Business was merely earning a livelihood, and travel was a means to that end. In family life, which was surely above average in comforts and fellowship, there was no pleasure, no joy, no satisfaction. I still have no awareness of what kept me going on the fruitless round of days and nights, because there was no hope of attaining anything better. There were many years of forgetting in the theaters, restaurants, and nightclubs of New York, Paris, Berlin, and many other cities. But these pleasures were but means of forgetting. Strange indeed and unhappy is the life devoid of human satisfaction and means of human peace. And more especially so when no thought or possible spiritual joy even for spiritual knowledge, there was, hope sense that fulfillment would come. In fact, how could I know the meaning of fulfillment? This chapter is no gloomier to read than my life was to live, although this could not have been visible to those around me. Always there was a sufficiency of the things money will buy, always lots of baubles and bangles. What must have appeared outwardly as a very mediocre lust was passed with no deep until that day. In meditation with an acquaintance, the veil was lifted, and I entered another world, actually another state of consciousness. It seemed much like a dream world because I went through the motions of daily living without any apparent change. Yet the whole outer experience was as if walking through a dream. Many came to me seeking healing for no known reason and received it, although I knew not how or why. For 18 years, I lived between outwardly functioning as a healer, living a normal family life, and inwardly as apart from this world, as if I had already departed it. All these years were unhappy ones for the outer man, and probably for the family also, and inwardly a sensationless life of learning. Secrets of the Orient and of the Occident were revealed to me, secrets of the mind of man and of the spiritual realm, laws of mind and the grace of spirit revealed themselves to me. I've never minded the misery of my personal life, only the unhappiness of those who touched my outer life and could not enter into the inner with me. Never having experienced either the victories or the defeats of human existence, it was a simple transition to the life of the spirit. It's not a pleasant experience to witness neophytes seeking the spiritual way because they're looking so eagerly to imagined joys, successes, and honors, and these I've never found. Why then the spiritual life? It's given to those who receive it for some special purpose of the inner realm, and not for an individual's triumphant life. It's given by an act of grace, as a mission, and as one's life is not one's own, there can be no victories, no profits, no satisfaction of any personal nature. Those who receive ordination are fortunate that they are called to serve, but must remember that it is not for their benefit or glory, but that a work be accomplished. Think, neophytes, before you knock seriously. Think. You will live in two worlds, in this world, but not of it. Your standards, your emotions, your words, and your ways will not be of this world, and so you will be alienated from your friends and family and community of society, yet compelled to live and work among them. You will meet only a few of your own household, and these seldom, and each will be fully occupied with his own mission. Your relationship with those of the world will be unsatisfactory. Your periods of peace only when in inner contemplation and communion. And so now I'm going to share a letter. There's no date. It's from Georgina, written on, this was a monthly letter, in the early 50s. Dear friend, we bind ourselves by believing there is power outside of us, power for good or for evil. All power is given to you, and this power is always good because of the infinite source whence it flows. The recognition of this great fact brings a peace and a joy untold, yet felt by all who come within range of our thought. It makes you beloved of men. It brings you recognition and reward. It establishes you in thoughts of men and becomes the foundation of it, eternal goodwill. Whenever you are faced with a problem, regardless of its nature, seek the solution within your own consciousness. Instead of running around here and there, instead of seeking an answer from this or that person, instead of looking for the solution outside of yourself, turn within. In the quiet and calm of your own mind, let the answer to your problem unfold itself. If the first or second or third time you turn in peace to the kingdom within, you fail to perceive the completed picture, try again. You will not be too late, nor will the solution appear too late. As you learn to depend on this means for the working out of your problems and experiences, you will become more and more adept in quickly discerning your mind's revelation of harmony. Too long have we sought our health, peace, and prosperity outside ourselves. Now let us go within and learn that there is never a failure or disappointment in the whole realm of our consciousness, nor will we ever find delays or betrayals when we find the calm of our own soul and the presence of an infinite principle governing, guarding, guiding, and protecting every step of our journey through life. Do not be surprised now when the outstanding truth unfolds to you that your consciousness is the all power, the only power acting upon your affairs, controlling and maintaining your health, revealing to you the intelligence and direction necessary for your success in any and every walk of life. Does this astonish you? No wonder. Heretofore you've believed that somewhere there existed a deific power, a supreme presence, which, if you could reach, might aid you or even heal your body of its ills. Now it becomes clear to you that the universal mind or consciousness is the mind of individual man, and it is the all-power and ever-presence which can never leave you nor forsake you, and it is closer than breathing. And you need not pray to it, petition it, or in any way seek its favor. You need but this recognition, leading to the complete realization of this truth. From now on, you will relax and feel the constant assurance of the presence and the power of this illumined consciousness. You can never again fear what man can do to you. No more will you fear conditions or circumstances seemingly outside of you or beyond your control. Now you know that all that can transpire in your experience is occurring within your consciousness and therefore subject to its government and control. Nor will you ever forget the depth of feeling accompanying this revelation within you, nor the sense of confidence and courage that immediately follows it. Life is no longer a problem-filled series of events, but a joyous succession of unfolding delights. Failure is recognized as the result of a universal belief in a power outside of ourselves. Success is the natural consequence of our realization of infinite power within. Release from fear, worry, and doubt leaves us free to function normally, healthfully, confidently. The body acts immediately from the stimulus coming to it from within. New vitality, strength, and bodily peace follow as naturally as rest follows sleep. Little do we know of the depth of the riches within us until we come to know the realm of our own consciousness, the kingdom of our mind. When we become still and go into the temple of our being for the answer to come to some important question or the solution of a vital problem, it is well that we do not formulate some idea of our own, or outline a plan, or let our wish in the matter father our thought. Rather, should we still the thinking mind so far as possible and adopt a listening attitude. It's not the personal sense of mind or conscious mind which is to supply the answer, nor is it the educated mind or the mind formed of our environment and experience, but the universal mind, the reality of us, the creative consciousness. And this is best heard when the senses and reasoning mind are silent. This inner mind not only shows us the solution to any problem and the right direction to take in any situation, but being the universal mind, it is the consciousness of every individual and brings every person and circumstance together for the good of the whole. Obviously, we cannot look to this universal consciousness to work with us for anyone's destruction or loss. What is accomplished in and through the kingdom of our mind is always constructive, individually and collectively. It can therefore never be the means of harm, loss, or injury to another, nor do we direct our thought at another or project it outside ourselves in any direction. That which our mind is unfolding to us is at the time operating as the consciousness of all concerned. We never need concern ourselves with reaching some other mind or influencing some other person. Remember that the activity of mind unfolding as us is the influence unto all who can possibly be affected by or concerned in the problem or situation. There are no unsolved problems in mind, And this same mind, which is our own consciousness, is the only power necessary to establishing and maintaining the harmony of all that concerns us. It is our turning within that brings forth the answer already established. Our listening attitude makes us receptive to the presence and the power within us. Our periods of silence, silent contemplation, reveal the infinite force and the constructive energy and intelligent direction always abiding in us. Thus, we discover in our mental realm the Aladdin's lamp. Instead of rubbing and wishing, we turn in silence and listen, and all that is necessary for the harmony and success of life flows forth abundantly, and we learn to live joyously, healthfully, and successfully, not by reason of any person or circumstance outside ourselves, but because of the influence and grace within our own being. No longer is it necessary to try to dominate our business associates or members of our family. The law within us maintains our rights and privileges without recourse to any outward measure. Every right desire of our heart is fulfilled now without struggle or strife, without fear or doubt. The more we learn to relax and quickly contemplate our real desires, the more quickly and more easily are they achieved. It's not required of us that we suffer our way through life or strive endlessly for some desired good, but we have failed to perceive the presence of an inner law capable of establishing and maintaining our outer welfare. It seems strange to us at first to realize that inner laws govern outer events, and it may at first appear difficult to achieve the state of consciousness wherein these laws of our inner being come into tangible expression. We will achieve it, however, in proportion to our ability to relax mentally, to gain an inner calm and peace, and therein quietly contemplate the revelations which come to us from within. Quietness and confidence soon bring us face to face with reality, the real laws governing us, of which legal laws are but clumsy counterfeits. Lest the question should arise in your thought as to how a law operating in your consciousness and without conscious effort or direction can affect individuals and circumstances outside ourselves, let me ask you to watch the result of your recognition of the inner laws and learn this through observation. We are yet to become aware of the fact that we embrace our world within ourselves, that all that exists of persons, places, and things lives only within our own consciousness. We could never become aware of anything outside the realm of our own mind, and all that is within our mental kingdom is joyously and harmoniously directed and sustained by the laws within. We do not direct or enforce these laws. They eternally operate within us and govern the world without. The peace within becomes the harmony without. As our thought takes on the nature of the inner freedom, it loses its sense of fear, doubt, or discouragement. As the realization of our dominion draws in thought, more assurance, confidence, and certainty become evident. We become a new being, and the world reflects back to us our own higher attitude toward it. Gradually, an understanding of our fellow man and his problems unfolds to us from within, and more love flows out from us, more tolerance, cooperativeness, helpfulness, and compassion. And we find the world responds to our newer concept of it. And then all the universe rushes to us to pour its riches and treasures in our lap. Many fine treaties and covenants have been signed by nations and men. Nearly all have failed, because no document is any better than the character of those who administer it. When we become imbued with the fire of our inner being, We no longer need contracts and agreements in writing because it becomes first nature with us to be just, honest, intelligent, and kind. And these qualities are met in all those who become part of our experience in the home, office, shop, and in all our walks of life. The good revealed in our consciousness returns to us, pressed down and running over. In this new consciousness, we are less angered by the acts of others, less impatient with their shortcomings, less disturbed by their failings. And likewise, instead of being hampered and restricted by external conditions, we either do not meet with them or else brush right by them with but little concern. We realize that something within us is ruling our universe. An inner presence is maintaining outer harmony. The peace and quiet of our own soul is the law of harmony and success to our world of daily experience. Sincerely yours, John S. Thank you, Joel. And so now our question becomes, how do we juxtapose this letter from the early 50s, so full of hope and promise, painting the world to be this fabulous, beautiful place without conflict, with good things running over, tapped down and running over, as he said. And then the letter in 1962, after his entire career I hesitate to give an answer because I would like you to contemplate it yourselves and see where you may be leaving a promise that may or may not come. I'm sure there were plenty of people in the infinite way who had reasonably happy lives. There were many who came for healings and then left and just would read Joel's books and feel wonderful and uplifted. But we look at the history of the work and we see where there were challenges, contradictions, lawsuits. I know you've heard Joel say, we don't sue, we don't do lawsuits, we trust God's judgment. God will step in, right? And yet, the infinite way was split, just like the story of Solomon. The two mothers coming, demanding that it's their baby. And so he said, okay, let's cut it in half and each of you take half. And the real mother stepped in and said, no, 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 go ahead, take the baby. And proved that she was the child's true mother. No one did that to the infinite way. Created all sorts of division and animosity, polarity. But that's this world. And this is the people that were closest to Joel, that lived with him, that he touched, that he meditated with, that he loved. And then we watch him get his heart attack in South Africa. Of course, healed beautifully, but still it came. It came. And then in the end, feeling so alone, no one would stand with him. They wouldn't even let him die according to his own desires. He told Emma he was going into the room and that not to disturb him, not to revive him if she saw him. And she went in and he was on his way out. I'm not sure what he was doing, whether he was meditating and just physically leaving his body. But they called the paramedics and the doctor, the ambulance and doctors and in the hotel, and they revived him. And he was upset. He said, "Now I have to do it all over again, start from the beginning." So for me, when I see all this and I see my own life and what's transpired, I had a really charmed life for a long time. And then now that it's coming to the final chapter, not that it's going to be tomorrow, I don't think, but I'm going to be 78 next month. Um, Nothing but troubles and issues. And yes, there are opportunities to practice the presence, and they've been resolved. Many, many miracles have happened, but it's the last thing I would have expected. I wouldn't I wouldn't have guessed that I'd be here and my house is gone, and I almost lost my husband, I almost lost my son. um yeah, so there are no promises of a rosy life, and I hope you will not be tricked into being here because of that. I hope that you're here for the real deep sharing of spiritual truth with a desire to expand your consciousness, whatever it might take. Hardships and tests, let them come. Let them come. You're ready. You know what to do. Nothing lies in personal eyes. Do not believe the picture. Just rest with God without requesting anything, without demanding, without expecting, knowing that this is you. This is you that you're going to, not some outside father. I find it really curious that if we really wanted a deity that we could go to and plead and give us what we really want, it would be a woman. It would be a mother. Your father usually says no. Mom's the one who says, okay, sure, let's try and do that. You want this? Let's see if we can find it for you. So I mean, that's kind of funny when you think about it, that these religions of the world have a man that you have to go to get stuff. It should be a woman. She supplies. Nature gives us without asking, just automatically presents us with flowers and fruits and vegetables, and you don't have to think it. We need to be good husbands in terms of caring and um, doing the work necessary. So when you do your studies and your tape listening and all this, don't feel disappointed or inadequate. Just know that the message is helping us expand and be lifted to another realm of understanding. And I do hope that you'll all read that essay on neurotheology. It's quite excellent. And it will also define for you how our study is different from Christian Science and why people in Christian Science who want more come to Joel. I didn't really understand the duality that existed or it exists in Christian Science. There's still a battle, polarities, mortal mind and divine mind. Joel has a bit of that, but it fades away as we go further into the study and as he evolves. So let's see if I can finish the chapter we were on in the Prayer of Understanding chapter in the second San Francisco series. When consciousness is filled with the idea of God, when consciousness is filled with the Spirit of God, then the outer form, the picture, the pocketbook, the health, the wealth, the home relationships begin to take on spiritual, harmonious form. Now, there is another aspect of prayer. Let's not waste any time in these days ahead in praying to God to stop a war or to stop a depression. Let us not waste any time asking God to look down upon us and be merciful. It won't work. It's been tried thousands and thousands of years. Go back to Hindu scripture. Go back to Hebrew scripture. And then into the Christian scriptures. Many thousands of years the prayer has gone out. Oh God, be merciful to me. Oh God, be merciful. Oh God, forgive. Let us get this straight. There is no such God. If there were, it would have been made manifest in earthly affairs centuries before this. God is a law of love, and we have to come into conscious oneness with that God or law or love in order to benefit by it. How many people in metaphysics have tried to give this law of God to their children and found that they could not do it, or to their brothers or sisters or mothers or fathers? It is an individual experience. You can join a Baptist church and your children will be Baptists. You can be a Catholic and your children will be Catholic. But you can't become a metaphysician and make metaphysicians of your children. I've seen too many Christian scientists try to make their children scientists. It works sometimes, but it works only because those children had it within their own being to desire it, to want it. They catch something that makes them follow along the path. And if they haven't caught it, they throw it all over See how many children there are past 14, 15, 16, 17 in the Sunday schools. When it gets to be 18, 19, 20, most of them have thrown it away. In later years, they often return, certainly. Where else are you going to turn except to God when you get into enough trouble? But this all shows that it has to be done individually. No one can get it by inheritance. You can't be a metaphysician of any school by inheritance. If you can have parents or Sunday school teachers or practitioners who are able to impart to children enough of this wisdom so as to set up in them a desire for it, that is fine. But barring that, the individual must himself go to God. So for us to sit around praying for all the peoples of the world to be spared from war when in their hearts and souls they're plotting and planning another one, how is it going to work? Wasn't it Abraham Lincoln's old prayer, not that God be on my side, but I be on God's side? That's why 99% of the prayer of the world is never answered. It isn't prayer. It is uttered to a non-existent God, ignorantly worshipped. You are one with God as you yourself are the outlet for that love, that divine love, the love which passeth understanding, the love which is grace, gentleness, peace. God is infinite intelligence, and you are one with God in proportion as you are opening your consciousness to be led by that infinite intelligence. Not my will, but thine be done. So you could go through all the synonyms of God that the Bible or metaphysical literature holds and realize how much of God you are showing forth by how you conform to what you would expect the activity of an intelligent mind and soul to be. Do you see that, what I mean? I hope this is clear, because if it is so, only in a tiny measure, a measure only so large as a grain of dust, if you can see that you have to overhaul your concept of prayer and have got to overhaul your concept of God, and you've got to begin the work of conscious at oneing, attuning, and that it's your individual job. If only as a grain of dust I can make you see that, my whole lifetime will have fulfilled itself. If I myself can catch a really higher concept of God than I have now, so that I can feel just one bit closer to this Almighty Spirit, which is the reality of my being, I have no other purpose in life. I know it will use itself through me for some good end. And in the same way, I know right well that I can't go out on the street corners and preach this. I feel very, very fortunate if the few who are drawn to me of their own at one-ment with this type of consciousness, if they can catch one little glimpse of what I'm trying to say and what I always so poorly say and write, someday it will be said better and written down far better than it is now. But if I can bring to life only one tiny little bit of spirit that will say, I must overhaul my idea of prayer. I must do a little higher praying and have a little higher concept of God than to believe that he began a war, that he is ever going to end one, or that he is ever going to forgive anyone his sins in his sins. Forgiveness is accomplished only by the forsaking of the sin. There's no other way. We can no more do that than to keep on in mathematics saying that 3 times 3 are 8, 4 times 4 are 19, and expect the principle of mathematics at the end to say, well, after all, you are a charitable soul, so we will give you the correct answer. It isn't done. Not mathematically, not musically, nor with painting, art, sculpture, writing. Those who turn to those arts and gifts must turn to them with a full openness to the principles of them. Those who turn to God must turn to God with full openness of consciousness to it. Does this mean that if we are indulging some sin or sickness or hate or envy or jealousy, and we cannot humanly stop it, that we are damned? No, it doesn't mean that at all. As a matter of fact, I think most practitioners will tell you it's much easier to work with a nice, healthy sinner than it is with the usual saint. You get much further because the sinner at least knows he's a sinner, and he knows he isn't deriving too much good from it, and he's perfectly willing to let go of it if it can be possible for him to do so. In that spirit of emptiness, that spirit of the realization of the nothingness of sin, it's very easy for that person to experience grace and salvation and healing. Thank you, Joel. Let's